So this is 1 hour versus 1 day versus 1 week. I don't think the amount of time spent creating art determines its value, but let's do a test and we'll find out if I'm right or not. Rather than using my woodcarver screw, I'm just going to do this. Okay, I downloaded this massive timer. Let's go. I did a challenge like this before where I carved a face in 1 minute, 10 minutes and 1 hour, but I didn't feel like that was really enough time, so I think we should do it properly this time. I think 1 hour's a good amount of time to get something done. You can see I have some really stunning sketches on here that I'm going to use to help me out. We're just going to try and make this guy on the side, and I'll start the timer again while we draw that on. I don't know how you guys like to plan your wood spirits out, but I just like to do this like almost triangular shape for the nose, and then just a straight line here. I want to give him a pretty big schnoz. I always find the nose one of the hardest parts to get right. It's such a weird shape. In fact, just generally in that human anatomy, like, you know, really weird shapes. So it's quite hard to get things to look the way you want them to. What are we on? 39 minutes. That's not so bad. Getting eyes right can be pretty hard, and sometimes I find just going at it, just doing it, is the best way. I spent so much time messing around with the eyes that we're well beyond halfway gone now, and I just need to get like I want to get like a mustache and a beard in here. We are drastically running out of time here, and I'm probably going to mess some stuff up. Okay, I think it's all just about cleaning this up now and trying to get it to look as wood spirit-y as possible. I'm just going to use this last minute trying to clean a few things up, and then we'll look at the final result. Oh my god, 16 seconds. I don't even know what to work on, there's so little time. Okay, there we go. I think it's alright. I don't think it's too bad. The carving is, you know, the face is a little bit flat for my liking. But we got all the features on there. It does look like a wood spirit. But let's move on to 1 day and hopefully make a vast improvement. So I figured for the day-long one, since 8 hours is widely regarded as like a working day in the UK, that's how long we'll do it for. We're going to use ash again for the next one, and I didn't mention this before, but the woodland that I buy this ash from has been under traditional coppice management since 1252. So that's 774 years of doing this same kind of thing. So I think that's pretty damn cool. For the last wood spirit, I've got a pretty cool big chunk of wood to do it from. But until then, let's try and do some justice to the history of this ash and make a really decent wood spirit. Okay, let's start the 8-hour timer. Whoops. There we go. So I've looked at some diagrams of the planes of the face, and I'm now going to try and make this nose a bit more realistic than the last one, but still pretty big. Now we're going to carve the bottom part of the eyes, which is sort of like the bottom eyelids pretty much. Just want to get this nose shaped more like the way I want it before I move on. Let's do the thing that I normally am not very good at, which is convincing hair. Let's have a go. Good thing is, since I have like 3.5 hours left, I can do the eyes the way I like to do them, with the raised pupils. So that's what I'm going to do now. Sometimes you break the pupils off like that. Damn it. Alright. It's alright, we'll just go deeper. You can just trim this down. I like the way it looks like this, but it is quite irritating to do. Let's try and curve the pupil over before I take the material away from the outside. That might be the better way to do it. Okay, not too long left now, so I'm going to start working on the eyebrows. I'm going to spend the last hour or so just cleaning this guy up as much as I can. Okay, we are almost there. I just want to add some wrinkles. Oh. Alright. There we go. Let's I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna take that last bit out there. There you go. Alright, let's get it off here and have a look. Okay, I think it's safe to say that that is a darn sight better than the 1 hour one. I know it's still a bit rough. There's still a couple of features that are not quite right, like the head wrinkles, and the hair is a little bit messed up, but it's not bad. I quite like it. I think he might live in the garden at the end of this video. So now I'm going to show you the big log that I've got for the last one. Found it. I guess we can mount that on there and carve it like we did the other ones. I don't really want this stick at the front or this stick at the side, so I'm going to cut those off, I think. There's a lot of woodworm, though, that's been in this. I don't think it will be kept inside anyway. It's probably going to live outside when I finish carving it. There's quite a lot of spalting as well, which I'm looking forward to uncover a bit more. There's also a massive crack in the back that goes about, what, a quarter of the way through maybe. So hopefully we don't carve down that deep. So you may be wondering if I have a sketch for this one, and I do. I'm going for a much more serious and proportional look this time, which is going to make it a lot harder to do, and hence why I've left this kind of design for the week-long one. The whole idea of how this branch is shaped is that it's going to be a horn. So this bit here is going to be a horn, and this bit here is going to be where a horn is broken off. Because luckily we have two kind of pieces of wood, branches coming out here, so we can make them kind of reflect each other. So there is quite a lot of woodworm. I've been chiseling down to try and see if I can get kind of past it, which I have to some extent, but not that much. So I'm just going to continue carving it because this is going to live outside anyway. I will show you though. You can see all these lines where the woodworm have been. But let's just carve and see what happens. So the cool thing about this piece of wood is that it actually comes from my garden. The garden that we're carving in right now. It used to be like a big wild cherry tree at the top of the garden. It used to be there. And I've had it sitting around for about maybe, I don't know, 10 years or something. And just done nothing to it. I never really knew what to do because it had all the limbs sticking off it and interesting looking piece of wood, so I just kind of left it there. But I figured this challenge, this project was a really good thing to use it for. So I left this area kind of around the nose quite high, except for like right into the nose. But I left these parts quite high because there's these kind of, I'll show you on my own face. So I want to, with your focus please. This kind of, the way the nose comes down here, there's these kind of two parts here, right? And this feels weird. I want to try and make these kind of parts here, and then like the kind of the sort of baggy socket part under the eyes, but these sort of cheeks here that sort of go down. That's what I want to do. I want to try and do. I'm going to leave as much of the material surrounding the lips on as possible, which makes it a bit harder to get the level of the lips right, but let's try. I normally start by carving down to the bit where the lips meet, I guess the hole. The gap between the lips, what I don't know what we'd call it, but that's where I start. And then I carve everything down towards it. And I know this won't be a perfect depiction, obviously, but I want these lips to look pretty good. I've got a week to do this and think about it, so hopefully I can get them to look quite nice. It is day 3, I believe, and we're going to start working on the beard. added this little bit here thinking it would look good, but I really don't like it, so I'm going to come back and take it away. Which is what a lot of this beard has been. So I've been messing up this beard and carving it away and going back to what it was before and stuff like that, and basically losing wood, going further and further down. I've done the same with the moustache. But in that, I found this kind of style that I quite like. I don't think it's anything crazy or new or anything. But what I was trying to do is just create the shapes of the hair first and then add some details afterwards. But I quite like it like this. So I'm going to turn the light off and show you. See that? There's something really nice about that, and I'm just going to keep working it up towards the bottom lip and coming down over the top of the top lip, and then we'll move on to, I guess, the horn. Now I'm going to start making this curve up the top, so hopefully this goes as planned. So we do have a little bit of a problem. Maybe you can spot it. But as I was coming up here with the gouge, just to kind of take some of this area out, I suppose I should have known this was going to happen. I should have been coming down from the bottom and the top, but you can see quite a large chunk of that wants to break off. So normally I would just, like, for something like this, it's going to be outside. I'm not too worried, you know, what happens to it generally. But the kind of whole look is going to be changed if we break that whole piece off there. So I'm going to super glue it back on and continue to carve, just so we can see what it would look like if it didn't break off. But you know, I'm not too worried about a major fix. Let's just get it on there and continue carving, and so we can see properly what it's going to look like. Of course, all the rot and stuff in this log doesn't help, but I think in this case it was just a case of me being dumb. And if you've watched my videos before, it'll no, that's not exactly a rare occurrence or anything. So while that's drying up, I think we'll try and make this side kind of look like this side with the broken off, but with a broken off antler. Alright, it's been over an hour now. Let's check this out, see if it's feels pretty good. Let's give it the cutting test and see if it'll hold up. So far so good. Let's keep going. I think I'll do what worked last time, and that was to carve the pupils down first around the outside here, and then take the material away from the outside. This isn't really something I've tried before, so let's hope this looks somewhat interesting. Is that the word? I don't know. Somewhat good. It seems to be looking kind of cool. I quite like it. Oh, by the way, I figured I should mention this. I forgot to record earlier that I've been adding woodworm killer to this piece because it dawned on me fairly early that if I'm messing around with this in a shed where I have quite expensive sculptures and stuff, I should probably try and kill the woodworm inside the log in case somehow one of them finds their way out and decides to go into a nice expensive sculpture. Right, let's try and add some under eye bags and wrinkles and stuff now. So we really need to be getting on with like cleaning a lot of this up now, so I guess that's what we're going to have to start doing. While I'm doing this, I just want to thank my patrons for all their support and helping the channel out. You guys are fantastic, thank you very much. And in particular, I want to thank Brady Mullins and Luis, who have recently become members of the Bendy Boy Society. So thank you very much, guys. By the way, remember the bit I snapped off earlier and glued? This is it here, so you can see kind of like the line coming under here and going up there. And it feels surprisingly good. It's not like wobbling or anything, which is pretty good. Right, final day of the week, and it has been quite a journey. I know the bit up here looks a little weird poking up the top, but I quite like it because it's sort of a memory of where the log was cut and then it sort of split off there, and that split bit has remained there, so I sort of like it. It has a nice, cool, interesting look to it. Be interesting to see what this looks like in about a year's time after it's been outside. And in fact, in a minute, I'll show you some of my other sculptures that are outside and have been outside for a long time. See how they're holding up. Hopefully it's convincing enough for other people to look at it and be like, oh hey, it looks like an antler or a horn or something. Not just some strange growth going off the side of this wood spirit. So lips are always pretty hard as well. Sometimes you can make them too plump or too flat. These kind of look quite plump at first sight, but when I look from the side, they look pretty good when in line with the nose. But one thing we always have to remember is to curve down the edges here. Like this is the highest part of the lips, and then we want to curve down from the outside edges. So I'm going to do that a little bit more. I think it will make them look a bit more convincing. So before we do the final view, I just want to show you what some of my outdoor carvings. Well, this isn't a carving, but this little robot guy who I made probably about 2 years ago or something, all out of pallet wood, and he looks fine. I like the age on it. He's got like some green and some mould on him. He's got some bird crap on him, but he's fine. And there's this guy from this big bit of maple that I put out here about 2 years ago, I guess. I painted him with acrylics and then I think went over him with linseed oil or something like that. But the coloration on this is so nice, and it makes me wonder why more people don't want to put their stuff outside, because sometimes it can take on a really interesting look. And this is the last one, and the one I like the most. I carved this guy 7 years ago now. I made a YouTube video on it, and he has aged so well. All I did was put linseed oil on this one, and it's a piece of alder, and it's gone from kind of a yellowy to this sort of silvery grey. and I'll show you up close on the details. You can see how a lot of it has held on. I think what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't always be afraid to put your woodwork outside, because it'll age, it will show cracks, it will show wear, it will take on lots of different colours and forms over the years, and you'll get like a living piece of art. So now I just got to take this off here, and we can see what all of these look like next to each other. So 1 hour, 1 day, and 1 week. Now at the start of the video I brought up the topic of whether you think the amount of time you spend making a piece of art determines how much it's worth, and I said that I don't think it does. Of course, I know a lot of people are probably going to say that, you know, Clint, the first two are like the same size and this one's massive, and generally like bigger, heavier things are worth more than smaller things, and you know, you're probably right. So in that sense the test is sort of a bit unfair. But in my mind, like, I wanted to make something grand for the week-long one so that I could work more and concentrate on these features that are much bigger, because I knew I was going to spend more time on them. Is there a lot of difference between the 1 day one and the 1 week one, apart from the size and the design? I don't know really. I actually think they're kind of close in terms of a lot of features. I think the bigger one's perhaps a bit more polished, but I would think if I made something like that up to this size, would there be much difference in the price? Or something like this down in that size, would there be much difference in the price? I don't really know. What do you think? Generally, I'm of the opinion that the person who cares the most about the amount of time spent making a piece of art is the person who's making it, and not the person who's buying it. And I know that from all the stuff I've sold. People don't very often ask how long it takes me to make something, they just ask me how much it would cost to have it. So you could make something in a day that has a really nice design that lots of people are interested in, or you could make something over the course of a month that perhaps has a bit of a flawed design, or a design that just doesn't appeal to many people, that people would deem worth a lot less. So really just depends, I think, on who you're selling to and who's interested in your artwork. So for running, what's going to happen to these 3 guys? This guy's going out in the garden. I won't be gifting him to anyone because, you know, you've got loads of woodworm and stuff. This one's going to go out into the garden as well, but maybe if someone wants it, like my sister or someone, maybe I'll gift it to them. They can put it in their garden. And this one is going in the fire. Does make the grain come out pretty well by the looks of things. This big boy is going to need a lot of oil. Kind of looks interesting, all this woodworm. So the carving's been sealed. Let's go and find a home in the garden for the big boy right here. Now personally, I think he'll look pretty good here by the back door. What would you name this guy if you had the opportunity to? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.